94.4, your home for sports.
We're at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Two teams on the upswing. It's the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Denver Broncos, but it's the Broncos who continue to cling to postseason hopes. A win today would bring them to the 500 mark for the first time all season after that 0-4 start, and continue to position themselves in the hunt for a wild card spot in this anything can happen AFC. 76,000 plus here, the 195th consecutive sellout here at Mile High Stadium. And the weather, well, the wind is the biggest factor. A 30-degree day, and with winds gusting 37 miles per hour out of the northwest, a wind chill factor of -2. Dan Hicks with Bob Golick here as the Bengals kick off, and Glenn Milburn takes the return for Denver across the 25-yard line. John Elway had his third highest passing total of his career last week in the win over Atlanta, 382 yards. Up front for him, Russell Freeman is back at the right tackle position. In the backfield, Leonard Russell is the leading rusher for Denver. Derek Russell is back at the wide receiver spot after missing last week with a neck injury. Cedric Tillman, who had the career day, 175 yards in pass receptions, is the third wideout, and Elway begins from the shotgun. He'll come near side, intended for Glenn Milburn, out of the backfield, incomplete. Second down and 10. Let's set Cincinnati's defense for you, an improving one, including Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, the top pick in the NFL, perhaps his best game as a pro last week. Alfred Williams leads the team with 8 sacks. In the linebacking core, Steve Tovar is the leading tackler, and in the secondary, Brim and Jones are the corners. Darrell Williams and Lewis Oliver, a couple of hard-hitting safeties. Fernandez Vincent comes in the nickel. And the delay, this is Leonard Russell out of the backfield, and that is something that the Broncos say they will try early, the running game, and if it doesn't happen early, they have a tendency to get away from it, Bob.
Well, we talked to Dave Weidel yesterday, one of the veteran offensive linemen for the Broncos, and his point was, we start off with the run game, we try and pound it away 3-4 times. If it doesn't work, we go to the jet offense, a shotgun, we throw the ball, then we try and wear them down with that, and eventually come back when they're worn down and try and run the ball again.
Third down and 10. Elway lofted up downfield. Anthony Miller is open, and he has the reception. Down to the Bengal 26. And that is something John Elway told us also yesterday, that we think the Bengal cornerbacks gamble, and we have a chance to go deep early.
Well, I don't know what happened to Corey Sawyer here. I think he started to look at the quarterback instead of keeping his eyes on where Anthony Miller was going. Anthony just ran past him. And you're right. He said they have a tendency to want to gamble a little bit. And the first point that John made to us is that something that we would do to take advantage of that would be to run right past him. That's exactly what happened there.
Gain of 44. Shotgun again, Elway to the far side. That intended for Cedric Tillman, incomplete. Tillman filling in for Derek Russell last week, had a career-high 175 yards on 8 receptions. It was the 6th highest yardage total in Bronco history for number 87, Cedric Tillman.
Right, there we see Mike Grimm, who just came up and made a great play. Tillman breaking, going high for the ball here, and Mike Grimm really showing that he's going to come out and play a physical game. And I think that the Bengals as a whole are starting to feel more confident. You're going to see them playing more aggressively.
And Elway across the middle. Shannon Sharp has his first reception. And he's immediately hit by Lewis Oliver, but a good gain for Shannon Sharp, the big tight end, who also admits, I'm struggling a little bit. He dropped, at his count, about 4 balls last week, but he'd like to get off to a good start today.
Yeah, he's been he's been kind of the go-to guy for them. until Anthony Miller has had a chance to really come around and pick up the system, the timing of their going through the progression of receivers for the quarterback. Shannon's been the guy that they really want to go to.
3rd down and 2 for Elway. Elway just throws it away. Pretty good coverage in the Bengals defensive secondary and pretty good pressure up front by Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. So that'll bring up 4th down and the field goal unit for Denver.
Well, we talked about Dan Wilkinson, Big Daddy having a couple of good games here. You see him working one-on-one with John Melander and really just got the hand, his right arm up underneath his shoulder pad, was able to force his way through. And I'll tell you what, at 6'5", 313 pounds, there's not too many guys that are going to slow you down too much.
This will be a 34-yard attempt by Jason Elam. And Elam is through the uprights. So Denver quickly converting on its first opening drive of this game, and with 12:30 left in the first quarter, Denver gets the 34-yard field goal by Jason Elam to jump out in front, 3-0. Well, next Sunday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Most of you will see Jeff Blake and these Bengals play host to Rod Woodson and the Steelers. And then some of you will see a couple of future Hall of Famers, Joe Montana and John Elway, in the rematch of that Monday night mile-high thriller as the Broncos battle the Chiefs. And you know Denver wants another shot at Kansas City after losing that one on that Monday night. Dave Shula. He's won 2 out of his last 3. Going against Wade Phillips, and this marks the first time in NFL history that the sons of NFL head coaches have faced off. There's Wade Phillips, son of Bum, Dave Shula, son of Don.
But as we looked up, the statistics we looked up, that Don Shula versus Bum Phillips, Bum has the advantage 3 out of 4 games he's won.
Back deep for Cincinnati to receive the kickoff from Jason Elam, Eric Ball, and Adrian Hardy. Hardy returning kicks for the very first time this season. And Elam's boot will go to Hardy from the 11. Hardy bursts up the middle, and Hardy returns it to the 34, so a 23-yard kickoff return for Hardy. Jeff Blake, one of the best stories in the NFL this season, getting his 5th NFL start. Just 23 years old, but has really become the leader of this Bengal offense. Up front for him, a new center. Ken Moyer gets the start for the injured Derek Brills, but they do have Dave Cadigan back. He was inactive for the 3rd straight week last week due to a knee injury. Derek Fenner is the leading rusher. Darnay Scott, Carl Pickens, big play receivers. They have 10 of the 18 Bengal touchdowns. Troy Sadowski comes in as the second tight end, along with Tony McGee. And Derek Fenner gets the call up the middle, but the Bronco defensive front there to meet him. And let's set Denver's defense for you. The last rated defensive unit in the NFL. Simon Fletcher leads the team with 4 sacks, but they only have 9 total. Carl Mecklenburg gets the start again at middle linebacker, but we will see Dave Wyman, who has been inactive all 11 games prior to today. He's active today. There you have Smith, Crockett, Atwater, and Smith, and Hilliard and Fuller come in as the nickelbacks. Blake trying to pass for the first time and harassed by Shane Dronette. He wanted Carl Pickens, but Dronette didn't give him much of a chance.
Well, Dronette in the bottom, right in the middle of your screen, slips, makes a nice move there, comes clean. Caught the offensive lineman flat-footed. Jeff Blake able to keep his concentration, look downfield, and get rid of the ball instead of eating it.
So that will bring up 3rd down and 8 for Blake and the Bengals. Green and Fenner in the backfield. Blake again chased by Dronette out of the pocket. Flag is fired in as Blake runs it out of bounds. Simon Fletcher pressuring Blake. But we'll see what our referee Bernie Kukar has to say, and the indication a holding call against Cincinnati.
Well, we also see Shane Dronette again. Big double team, splitting the double team, able to come through and flush Jeff Blake.
4th down.
So they'll decline the penalty, and that will bring up the 4th down, and Lee Johnson will come in to punt it away for Cincinnati. Glenn Milburn is back deep for Denver. He stands backpedaling back to about his 15. And the left-footed Johnson sends it up to Milburn at the 22. Milburn smothered by a couple of Bengals, led by Santos Stevens. 40-yard punt by Lee Johnson. So Denver, after opening up with a 34-yard field goal by Jason Elam, will try and continue what was an impressive opening drive. The big 44-yard pass play by John Elway to Anthony Miller really sparked that first series. And we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Jets in Miami, and in dramatic fashion, the Dolphins come back to beat the Jets 28-24. And here at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Dan Hicks with Bob Golick. Denver with a 3-0 lead, 11-12 left in the first quarter, as the Broncos keep it on the ground. Leonard Russell gets the carry.
Well, Leonard's a workhorse. He's the guy that they really have to go to. You know, not a whole ton of speed, 6'2", 235 pounds, but he's the guy that they just take in and just pound away with him. They just kind of try to wear down the front a little bit.
He's also newly married just a couple of Saturdays ago. In fact, before he went over 100 yards against Seattle, he married his high school sweetheart Tasha, and they really thought seriously about getting married in the meeting room at the Broncos training complex.
How touching.
But elected not to. I think Tasha has something to do with that. Elway flushed out of the pocket. He will run it. And Elway across the 30 to the 33, short of the first down. James Francis brought him down. And some pretty good pressuring up front by Alfred Williams.
Yeah, John Elway in classic form loves to run with the ball. But one of the things we found out about him, he doesn't like to go in feet first. He's a guy that wants to go head first. It's just kind of a pet peeve of his. You know, he doesn't have that going into second base with the cleats up type of style. He just wants to kind of dive into the yardage.
That's something that Jim Fossil constantly has to hammer away. And
they want to lose him, that's for sure.
John Elway's head. 3rd down and 2. Elway out of the shotgun. And going to the far side, incomplete. Shannon Sharp, the intended receiver. So that will bring up 4th down. The Broncos unsuccessful in keeping their second drive alive.
Now, once again, we saw the Bengal defense that likes to take chances that John Elway told us about. On that play, just as John released the ball, Mike Brim was blitzing off the corner. Got in there just a little bit late to make the hit, but that's the kind of pressure I think that John's expecting to see for most of this game.
Tom Ruin, who has been nursing an injured groin, into punt, and this one not a good punt at all. Carl Pickens lets it go, but it does take a Denver Bronco bounce, and the Broncos will down it at the 22. Shank job there by Tom Ruin, but with 9:34 left in the first quarter, Denver has the lead 3-0.
One dancer, one prancer. Uh-oh. Nice deer. What was that?
Santa, get with the program. It's Domino's new Buffalo Wings. Now, when you call for your favorite Domino's pizza, you can get a full order of tangy chicken wings for just $3.99. Beats milk and cookies.
Domino's Buffalo Wings.
Concept cars. Stunning coupes built just for auto shows, not for real people. Now, Buick introduces a whole new concept. The all-new 1995 Riviera. The roomiest coupe in the world, with all the style and excitement of a concept car. Riviera by Buick. What a concept.
Calling collect. You've got options. You can dial 0 like this guy.
Hi, Mommy. I rode on the plane all by myself.
Did I mention you'll be charged as much as you possibly can for this call?
Or
You can dial 1-800-COLLECT. Here's how it works. Dial 1-800-COLLECT. Yeah, I just saved you some cash. You're welcome. Love you. Called Mom Collect, huh? You know, you could have saved up to 44% by dialing 1-800-COLLECT.
Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
Well, a couple of years ago, John Elway bruised his shoulder, bruised some ribs, and since then has been wearing a flak jacket. It is something he did not wear in all those trips to the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos, but he continues to wear it now because he thinks he feels safe with it. He does not want to abandon it.
Right.
Here it is right here.
Since December of '92, they have the extension on the bottom, the shoulder pads, which fits around the ribs and around the lower kidney area, which kind of protects from any of the shots some of the linemen might get. I mean, you know what? It really must be a big thing for him, very important for him, because you know it really doesn't make him look very slim. So.
Well, here's the Bengals on their second series, and Steve Broussard with a good bust up the middle picks up the first down for Cincinnati. Broussard missed last week with a neck injury. He suffered November 13th, and it was a pretty scary situation in that game. He left the stadium paralyzed, had no feeling in both legs, but is back for the first time today and really gives the Bengals that different gear.
Right. We talked about Derek Fenner being the workhorse, but Broussard gives them the quickness, the guy that has the moves, the ability to break tackles, to juke tackles, and also to get outside. So we're looking for a big game out of him today.
Ball at the 39. Bengals on the ground again. Broussard with the carry.
Great play by Steve Atwater. You're looking at your strong safety who comes up and playing big run support. Down here at the right side of your screen, you can see him come in and make a big stick right there. Great awareness. They must be, for him to be playing up that close to line, they must be really keying on some tendencies that they're seeing on the Bengal formations.
Atwater, the second leading tackler on this Broncos squad. Second down and 9. Broussard again, the ball is loose. Denver indicating they have it. And the officials indicating the same thing.
Dan, I think he just didn't have the handle. I couldn't see anybody get a hand on it. You see Mecklenburg come up on the outside and may have brushed it with his hand. Ball popping free.
So the big turnover early in the game with 8:16 left in the first. Denver will try to take advantage.
Auto Show concept cars. Cars with exciting features like supercharged engines. Finally, someone's built one for you. Introducing the 1995 Riviera with an available supercharged engine that breathes deep for maximum power. It's amazing what a breath of fresh air can do. The all-new Riviera by Buick. What a concept.
Panasonic presents a unique and highly evolved Smooth Operator. The Smooth Operator 2 with float control is the only razor to unite the comfort of twin independent floating heads with the closeness of a warm, wet shave. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. The Smooth Operator wet dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
What if I told you everything you know about TV is about to change? Because now there's DirecTV, totally digital television. More movies, more sports, more of what I want than ever before. All through a tiny satellite dish about the size of a small pet. Stay. With digital quality video and CD sound, everything's gonna look great. How does DirecTV work? I have no idea, but it does. Get your DSS 18-inch dish and DirecTV at your RCA dealer.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Buick, makers of the concept car you can drive, the 1995 Riviera. By 1-800-COLLECT, the way to save on collect calls. By Napa, we keep America running. And by Domino's Pizza. Call now and ask for our football special. It's gotta be Domino's.
There you see Simon Fletcher recover the fumble for the Denver Broncos. Now, and looking at the play again, Broussard never had the handle on it. He tried to put it away, made a move, and it just popped out. And that, you know, you get a little rusty, you're injured, you're away from the game for a little bit, a little nervous about coming back. And what happens a lot of times, you see it especially with receivers, is that they start to try to see where they're going to go with the ball before they actually have the ball under control.
Early numbers by John Elway. The big hitter was the 44-yarder. So the phantom fumble by Steve Broussard has set up Denver at the Bengal 40-yard line with 8:16 left in the first quarter. The Broncos getting the 32-28 win over the Atlanta Falcons last week. They trailed 28-17 in the fourth quarter, but that's the kind of setup that John Elway needs, and he engineered his 34th game-saving fourth quarter drive. The pitch, Leonard Russell trying to pick himself a hole, has to come all the way to the sidelines. Good pursuit by Cincinnati, culminating by Louis Oliver. And let's now take a look behind the stats. We mentioned John Elway and the flak jacket as a couple of moments ago, and it really has proved to be a durable career for John Elway. In fact, so durable that he has been only replaced 6 times due to injury in his entire 12-year career. He's been sacked 400+ times, and he was the only NFL quarterback in '93 to take every snap. Truly amazing statistics when you consider all the hits that the Iron Man Bronco has taken. As it looks like Louis Oliver is hurt and down on the Bronco sideline. He was involved in that play while they chased Leonard Russell.
Yeah, well, you see him bringing down Leonard Russell here, just getting caught up in the chains on the sidelines and kind of falls down and lands underneath the bench.
Well, we'll check on the condition of Louis Oliver when we return.
As sure as the sun will rise across America, the families that travel will have one common need: to be safe. So it's no surprise that America's favorite full-size car has also been honored for safety. That's according to Prevention Magazine, which gave LeSabre the Safe Car Achievement Award in the full-size category. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
Any dentist will recommend you thoroughly remove plaque daily, which is exactly what the Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover with its unique cup-shaped brush head does. The alternative is unthinkable. The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover. Still working with prehistoric copiers? Get the copier that earned Buyers Lab's highest rating for uptime, Mita. For a more productive future, the times demand Mita.
It still bugs me that I waited to try Old Spice High Endurance just because I thought all deodorants worked the same. Dumb. This proves it's the best. Better than the leading stick. It evaporates less quickly. It also lasts longer. Protects better. You can't ignore that. Or this guarantee. Try it. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT, and they'll buy you a stick of yours. You gotta figure anyone that serious about deodorant deserves a serious shot. Come on, take the High Endurance Challenge from Old Spice. I did.
Next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, there's great NFL action on NBC. John Elway and Joe Montana take the field in a rematch of this season's single greatest game, when the Broncos go head-to-head with the Chiefs, or the Jets take on the Patriots, or regional action next Sunday.
Don't wait for the highlights. Watch it live on NBC.
Well, as Louis Oliver being helped off the field after being injured on the last play, we're going to take a look at it again. See if we can see what happened here. Making the tackle on Leonard Russell. Body comes around. His legs kind of get tangled up in the chain, but right there, you see him jam his foot and his leg into the ground. At this point, you're looking at something. Could be an ankle turn. It could be just a knee that just kind of snaps straight, a little bit of a hyperextension. But we'll have to wait for a report from the trainers down on the Bengals sideline.
Well, he's had all sorts of health problems, most coming from that foot surgery in April, which repaired a stress fracture. He returned to full action just last week after missing most of the previous week with a foot problem. So we'll be more definitive on the injury situation for Louis Oliver when we get the details. Meanwhile, Russell lost a yard or two, and that'll bring up second down and long for Elway and the Broncos. Elway flushed out of the pocket and gets it away to Leonard Russell, but Big Daddy had John Elway on the run. Steve Tovar makes the stop.
Well, great play by both guys. You'll see Big Daddy. He'll be on the left side of your screen as he just comes straight up the middle, slipping by Melander. Right here, Tovar blocked by Dave Weidel. comes off the block beautifully. You know, you've got that many lead blockers out in front of you on a screen pass. You know, it's difficult as a defensive player to really want to go and throw your body in. But Tovar, a reckless type of guy that likes to go in there, got good separation from the block and made a big tackle.
Glenn Milburn in motion. Elway out of the shotgun. 3rd and 11. Bengals come with a lot of guys, and Elway is able to get rid of it, intended for Cedric Tillman, but Tillman took a good hit by number 23, Corey Sawyer. So the punt unit will come on for Denver.
See Tillman with in a low zone underneath, got between all the coverage. Corey Sawyer come up. Great play. He's been a guy he's come in and made a lot of big plays for the Bengal defense. A big hit there.
He'll try to make another big one here. He's back deep along with Carl Pickens as Tom Ruin gets sent to punt. And Ruin trying to pin the Bengals back. Fair catch made by Sawyer. Cincinnati will start at the 11-yard line. So Denver not able to take advantage of the Steve Broussard fumble. They still lead it 3-0.
Wendy's celebrates 25 years of being the best in the business. In the 1981 playoffs, Rolf Panershka's overtime field goal gave the Chargers a dramatic 41-38 win over the Dolphins. But do you remember the real Charger hero of this victory?
Dave, so nice to have you here.
Nice being here. Appetizers.
They brought them in from Madagascar.
Did they bring any more?
Look, tête de veau.
Oh, boy. I think I'm going to Wendy's.
When you're really hungry, try Wendy's Big Bacon Classic Combo. A quarter-pound of fresh beef, bacon, cheese, lots of toppings, plus Biggie fries and a 20-ounce drink.
Now, that's a delicious meal.
Just in time for dessert.
After tête de veau, who's got room for dessert?
right, Old
Try Wendy's Big Bacon Classic Combo.
Tight end Kellen Winslow set a playoff record with 13 catches and played himself to near exhaustion in one of the greatest individual postseason performances ever. Another memorable football moment from the past 25 years.
As sure as the sun will rise across America, the families that travel will have one common need: to be safe. So it's no surprise that America's favorite full-size car has also been honored for safety. That's according to Prevention Magazine, which gave LeSabre the Safe Car Achievement Award in the full-size category. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
How could one woman
I don't want to lose you.
be married to two men
I don't think I can live without you in my life again.
at the same time,
I do.
in the same town, and get away with it?
There's always something, isn't there? Something more important than you and me.
Connie Selica, A. Martinez, and Perry King in a world premiere. She Led Two Lives, NBC Tonight.
There are the numbers for Jeff Blake. He's led the offense to 300-plus yards in all 4 of his starts. The first time the Bengals have done that since the '91 season. He's the leader of this Bengal team at just 23 years old. 1st and 10, and it's picked off. Ray Crockett picks off Jeff Blake. Blake wanted Carl Pickens, but Ray Crockett able to haul in the errant Blake pass and pick up the 2nd interception in '94, 18th of his career.
Oh, they're mixing it up front. They're showing a lot of people in Jeff's face. Here, just way off target, high and behind Carl Pickens. Crockett just very aware. He didn't even have to work for that one. He just stood there and said, oh, surprise.
Well, Denver was set up at the 40 after the Broussard fumble. Now they are set up at the 20-yard line of Cincinnati after the pick by Ray Crockett. They didn't come up with anything after the first turnover. They lead it 3-0. Elway, some confusion in the backfield, and he's hauled down by Darrell Williams. Looked to be some confusion between Derek Clark, who was the setback.
Yeah, you'll see the way he opens up to hand the ball off. I think it just came to a situation the back didn't come to the correct side of the ball. You know, you have a quarterback can hand the ball off 2 ways. He can open to the side of the running back, or the side the running back is going to, or he can reverse out. He reversed out that time, and the running back just wasn't there.
Well, Broncos have not looked good at all on offense since that opening drive. Elway out of the shotgun, Shannon Sharp. 2nd catch for Shannon Sharp. And he wants to hear it from the Mile High Stadium crowd.
He is an excitable guy. We talked to him 2 weeks ago when we were here, and just a lot of enthusiasm. Nice slant right over the middle, got between the zones. He's a guy that really the go-to guy. If you got to have a guy that's going to pick up the first down, get the yardage that you need to get that first down, he's the guy that John's going to want to go to.
First down and goal for Denver. Ball at the 7. This is Leonard Russell. Spins and turns. There was nothing up the middle, and he'll pay for it and lose yardage. Ricardo McDonald ran him down.
Well, as Clint Eastwood said one time, a man's got to know his limitations.
Are you suggesting there's a limitation on this Bronco running game?
No, not so much in the running game, but as you said in that play, Leonard got jammed up at the line of scrimmage. Now, for a big guy that has that kind of the side of speed he has, you want to just kind of keep pushing. You don't break to the outside and try to turn the corner on a bunch of quick defenders.
Now second down and goal. The ball has been moved back to the 10. Elway poised in the pocket, just throws it out of the end zone. That'll bring up third down and goal.
Well, he had plenty of time sitting back there, but most of the routes that he throws are, he goes through a progression of receivers, and a lot of it comes down to timing. Once he gets to the receiver his primary receiver, that guy, if he's not open, then John makes the decision. I move on to the next guy. If that guy's open, he'll dump it off. If not, he'll move to the next. That time, the coverage of the Bengals defensive backs is very tight. John opted to play it safe since they're in such good scoring opportunity here.
Third and goal. Broncos trying to take advantage of another Bengal turnover. They were unsuccessful on the first one. And the officials have stopped play. Flag thrown at the line of scrimmage. And we'll hear from Bernie Kukar.
False start, number 22 on the offense prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So that's the penalty on Glenn Milburn, and the Broncos continue in reverse mode.
Well, the last series, they're on the 40-yard line, in the 40-yard line area. You think that they could at least, with an offense that can get the yardage, at least get a field goal.
Remember, they were first and goal at the 7. Now third and goal at the 15. Looking for Shannon Sharp, incomplete. Fourth down and goal, and we'll see Jason Elam. And we'll hear some boos.
Doesn't take them long, they start off the season slow. I guess 0-4 is slow.
It's about as slow as it
gets. But they start to bring it around, so I think that the Mile High fans are still a little leery about which way this team is going to go. They're expecting a lot out of them, and they have in the past, and rightly so.
Another 34-yard attempt for Elam. And it is good. So a couple of 34-yard field goals by Jason Elam, who is now 21 of 26 on the season. Officially, it will go down as a 33-yarder, but really with those 2 turnovers, Denver wanted more, I'm sure, than just a field goal.
They really have had a lot of pressure up front with the Bengals. We talked about Wilkinson really putting a lot of pressure. Him and Keith Rucker, between the two of them, 650 pounds.
Well, last week, officiating really came into play for both teams. On the last play of the game in Cincinnati, the Colts' Ray Buchanan intercepted Jeff Blake after an apparent push right there of Darnay Scott. No call was made. It was ruled an interception, and the Bengals lost 17-13. Now out west, where the Broncos were trailing late, as we take another look at that controversial play. This is Reggie Rivers. You make the call. Was it a fumble? Well, the officials ruled it no fumble, ruling Rivers was down. It kept the late scoring drive alive, and Denver went on to beat the Atlanta Falcons 32-28. And Reggie Rivers even admitted after the game it was a fumble. So officiating working against and for both of these teams. This is Eric Ball after getting his hands back on the ball, is able to get it back out to the 30-yard line. And let's step aside for the first time with 4:02 remaining here and listen to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Dan, in Seattle, with this completion to Lake Dawson, Kansas City quarterback Joe Montana has gone over 40,000 career passing yards, just the 5th quarterback in NFL history. Kansas City leads the game 3-0. Next week on NFL Live, we will revisit what might have been the game of the year. Elway and Montana go at it again. We'll hear from both of them next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern Time. Let's go back to you.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. Cincinnati beginning this series, and Harold Green getting his first carry of the game. Not much at all. Harold Hasselbeck makes the stop, but John Elway, you mentioned that duo between John Elway and Joe Montana. It has not been impressive early for the Bronco offense here, just coming up with a field goal off of the 2 turnovers.
Right, but like we said about John before, and this point was brought up in the Denver area, when you have a guy of his talent level, you have a tendency over the course of his career to compare him to himself at his high points instead of just looking at it objectively.
Well said, Bob.
Thanks, Dan.
Second down and 8 after the 2-yard gain by Green. And Blake feeling the pressure. He will go down. It was a safety blitz by Dennis Smith.
Jeff Blake is slow getting up. In fact, he's not.
He has had the bruise above the ankle, the left ankle, which he has been favoring for the past couple of weeks.
Right, when we talked to him yesterday, he said there was no problem, that he had worked on it, felt good, and he didn't think it was going to be a factor.
And then as we passed him out of the meeting room, he had a bag of ice that he was taking down. I don't know if he was
I think it was just for
serving beverages. Or
yeah.
Take another look as Dennis Smith puts the clamps on Blake.
You know, when you're running with the ball and you've got a player hanging on your back, every time you plant that foot on the ground, you've got all that much more weight pushing down on the joints, trying to support the joints. And with the bruise and the soreness in the ankle, that I think is probably what has caused Jeff to stay down here.
Well, David Klingler is warming up on the Bengals sideline, and you remember that Klingler has not played since injuring a knee October 23rd. He was ready to play last week as the #2 quarterback, but Jeff Blake has won the starting job here.
Well, you know what? When a guy gets injured, as we look at it one more time, Dennis Smith hanging on his back as he's trying to try to get himself out. May have just twisted the ankle a little bit more, but obviously he's going to be out for a little bit. But it's going to be interesting to see David Klingler, because in talking to some of the guys, he kind of had a little bit of a downtime. You know, when a guy gets injured, normally he's not replaced. And a lot of coaches feel that you can't be replaced, you can't lose your job because of an injury. Now that's kind of a given, but you had to look at the Bengals season with no wins, and a guy comes in, steps in, and turns the team around so dramatically. I think you have to make some exceptions, and David Klingler's really been down for the last couple of weeks, and rightly so, but they said he's really started to come around and start to feel a bit better and start to work again.
Well, if he had a chance, it's right now, 3rd and 19. And Klingler's pass complete to Derek Fenner. Will be a very short gain, and Cincinnati will punt. So Klingler keeping it pretty simple on the first pass play at least.
Well, I guess you want to establish some confidence. A 1-yard completion is going to do it.
No doubt. David Klingler was a little hurt by the decision from Dave Shula to go with Jeff Blake. Didn't talk to the media for a while. But,
definitely. And you know why? Because the more expectations that are on you as a first rounder, the harder it is to let people down and to feel like you let people down.
Lee Johnson's punt taken by Milburn. He backpedals. And a flag comes in as Milburn brings it out to the 38. Adrian Hardy on the special teams tackle.
I think we're going to have a little push in the back over here.
49-yard punt by Johnson. And the hold on the return.
Not only did he push, but he pushed and held on.
Holding number 38 on a return team. 10 yards from the spot of the fall. That's a first down.
Reggie Rivers
You can see
for the penalty.
You can see the left-hand side of your screen right there on the hold, stretching the jersey out about 2 feet, makes it a little obvious.
Well, maybe Reggie thinks he's going to get all the officials' calls. I mean, last week he got a good one. He thinks, well, I'm on a roll here.
Hey, there's no instant replay. They can't call anything on me.
By the way, in his column today in the local newspaper, he admitted, he said, thank God there's no instant replay. All right, Elway and the Broncos from the 21. The fake play action to Russell, and he's the recipient out of the backfield of the Elway pass. Brought down by Steve Tovar, along with some help from Ricardo McDonald.
Now, Tovar, a young player inside. Larry Peccatello, the defense coordinator, said just that. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of enthusiasm, and he's still learning the position. But the one thing that he has going for him is he's very aggressive. He's strong. He's active. He moves all over the field, and that's the kind of guy that you want to get in there and start to develop, where he can start to learn the techniques and really progress.
And grew up a fan of the Cleveland Browns. Went to lots of games at Cleveland Stadium. He mentioned that he saw you, Bob.
How was his hero? Actually, I just made that up.
He didn't say that.
No, I just made that up.
Elway buying some time. And finds Cedric Tillman. Tillman with another big reception. Takes it out to the Bengal 46. Darrell Williams ran him out of bounds, but Tillman picking up where he left off last week. The 175-yard performance. 128 of those reception yards last week came in the first quarter. That one good for 25.
Watch John down here, and this is what makes him great. He's got people falling all around his feet, and that is what makes him such a great quarterback. As you see the reception by Tillman, such a great quarterback. He has such awareness of what's going around him, not just in the rush, but also where the receivers are.
Here is Russell for another first down. It appears he'll pick it up. Rod Jones ran him out of bounds. Let's check out our NFL Live studios again and head back to New York and join Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, we'll take you to Los Angeles. Mike Tomczak from 27 yards out finds Yancey Thigpen, and Thigpen will do the rest. With the extra point, the Steelers lead the Raiders 7-0. They have gone to the second quarter at the Coliseum, Dan.
Thank you, Greg. Denver leading 6-0 closing seconds of the first quarter here. And Elway tries to run it out, but he'll get nowhere. And Alfred Williams, depending if that... Look at this display.
Now that's the way to get the mile-high crowd going.
If it is indeed ruled a sack, which it is, it's Alfred's 9th sack of the season.
Did you see the little encore? He saw the response. He decided to get a little encore. Well, once again, you see the power of Dan Wilkinson up the middle. Really the guy that flushes John Elway. Alfred Williams there to clean it up.
Alfred Williams' 9th sack of the season matches the Broncos as a team, but I don't think the Broncos have a sack dancer like that.
Maria's Trattoria. Hi, turn on the TV. We're on the news.
This week, I visited Maria's Trattoria. Very creative pasta dishes.
With speakerphone, fax, and television, the Compact Presario may be the perfect computer to keep track of what's going on inside and outside your business.
A grilled salmon with pesto that is truly out of this world. $6.99. They could charge twice that, and it would still be a bargain.
I couldn't agree more.
If you can get this Panasonic Palmcorder camcorder that helps hold the picture steady when you can't, or take your chances. And remember, Palmcorder tapes playing your VHS VCR.
Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
This holiday, trust Napa to keep your vehicle running and help you save. Get a Napa toy truck with battery-operated powerboat for only $16.99. A locking plier set, toolbox, or step stool toolbox combo, each just $14.99. And Chilton repair manuals for a low $13.99 each. So stop by your nearest Napa Auto Parts store today. You never know who you run into.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
In the 80s, a lot of companies invested their pension funds in questionable real estate. Unfortunately, that's life. In the 80s, we invested most of our pension funds in investment-grade bonds. That's New York Life. New York Life, the company you keep.
Well, the injury report on Jeff Blake, a twisted left ankle. His return is probable, but look at the sack improvement by the Cincinnati Bengals for 94.
And I think a lot of it comes from the improvement. Obviously, Alfred Williams, but Dan Wilkinson up front. Keith Rucker, also another inside rusher. A lot of pressure in the middle.
11, Elway. Incomplete. He wanted Anthony Miller, but a flag was thrown in the backfield.
Well, Russell Freeman coming back for his first game in a while. Obviously a little rusty and maybe forgot the rules, but he is the one going to be called for holding.
You're that positive about that?
Oh, yeah, he was the only one in the backfield. The ref just about hit him with a flag.
Well, Russell Freeman back at the right tackle spot. Saw his first action last week after sitting out a couple of games with an eye injury.
Holding number 68 on the offense, grabbing the defender's head. That's a 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Grabbing the defender's head, a no-no.
It's one of your more obscure. You see him here at the left down right in the center of your screen there. Just had a little grab. You know, it wasn't that blatant. I don't think it was that a blatant a call, but you know, when you're all by yourself with nobody around you, the refs can see it very, very easily.
And it hurts worse when they say grabbing the defender's head instead of just a...
Yeah, really, very specific.
Well, Denver really backed up. Second down and 22, ball at the Bengal 47. Another flag on the play as Elway was looking for Tillman, incomplete. And it seemed that Elway was trying to do his trademark, draw the other team offside.
Yeah, I think they got Ramondo Stallings offside. It's kind of a late flag on the line.
And it is against
offside
the Bengals.
On the defense, number 79. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat the second down.
As Elway closes in for 3,000. But, you know, we talked to John Elway yesterday, and we mentioned, I mean, he draws teams offsides like no other quarterback, I think, in the history of the NFL.
He's drawn me offsides like no other quarterback in the NFL.
He says it's a matter of timing. That's the biggest.
Right. You know, we talk about cadence, inflection, you know, having an asymmetrical type of cadence count, but he says the timing, just knowing when the defense is kind of lulled into a false sense of security is when he hits it.
Second down at 17. Elway has Anthony Miller. Miller will be short of the first down marker, but John Elway surpasses another milestone. 3,000 passing yards for the 9th time in his NFL career. Only Dan Marino has more 3,000-yard passing seasons than Elway.
And you're going to see at the end of this play, Corey Sawyer was dead set on him not getting it. Really laid out, tried to make that play, and I don't know, Miller just decided that, I don't know why he just stopped.
It looked,
I don't know, maybe he felt he stepped out of bounds or something.
He felt that he had the first down. Leonard Russell will try to run for it. And he'll be held short. Steve Tovar leading the Bengal charge. Fernandez Vincent was also there, and it'll bring up 4th down for Denver.
Now, these guys are charged up, and we talked about Tovar before. This guy, very aggressive, all over the field, just really likes to kind of roam. But now we're going to have a decision here by Wade Phillips. You know, they've made some big plays to get themselves back into scoring position. Do you go for it or do you kick it? And it looks like he's going to.
He's got 2 yards. I think that's an awful lot to ask this early in the ball game, but we'll wait and see as John Elway trots over to discuss things with Wade Phillips. Denver leads it 6-0.
My advice to you is get a prelude.
Here's a great gift idea for Christmas. The new Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. You may actually get some things done around the house. Now with the detachable Versapad battery from Black & Decker.
Listen, this stuff that we make, it's powerful. It makes you powerful. The stuff that we make, it's powerful. Take it, listen, gather up your ideas, run with them. It makes you powerful. Just do something amazing. We're in your corner, and we can't wait to see what you're going to do. The stuff that we make, listen, listen, listen.
Run, dancer, run, prancer. Ah, ha, ha. Uh-oh. Nice deer. What was that?
Santa, get with the program. It's Domino's new Buffalo Wings. Now, when you call for your favorite Domino's pizza, you can get a full order of 10 chicken wings for just $3.99. Beats milk and cookies.
Domino's Buffalo Wings.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now and ask for our football special. When it's got to be good, and it's got to be now, it's got to be Domino's.
Dan Hicks, Bob Golick back at Mile High Stadium. Jason Elam on to attempt his third field goal of the game. This one will be a 45-yard attempt. Campbell has the hold, and Elam is off the mark. He had hit a 34 and 33-yarder, but 45 yards.
Well, the snap once again was a little bit high. Campbell able to get the ball down well, but I think what's happening, you know, we're dealing with some gusting winds. At times it looks like it's blowing a little bit. We're looking at the flags on the uprights, and he may have just overcompensated for what he felt was a strong wind.
He knew he'd missed the moment of impact. He just looks down. Jeff Blake back in quarterback for Cincinnati, and he throws it over the wrong shoulder of Harold Green. And we'll step aside, send you back to New York, and rejoin Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, it's all over at the Metrodome. Following a Minnesota turnover, Michael Husted kicks a 22-yard field goal with 12:52 to play in the overtime. Tampa Bay wins it 20-17, the first three-game losing streak for the Vikings since 1991, Dan.
All right, Greg, what has happened to the Vikings? Second down and 10 for Cincinnati. The pitch to Harold Green. He will have nowhere to go. Mike Kroll leading the surge for Denver. And it has become apparent, Bob Golick, what we thought at the outset, that the running games by Denver and Cincinnati not in sync at all.
Well, they were saying, Bruce Costle was saying that Harold Green really has, he's a guy that has been successful in the past, really hasn't done much. But looking at the replay, that had absolutely nothing to do with him. By the time he got out to the perimeter, the defense was there waiting for him. So, I mean, you can't put that one on Harold Green.
Third down and 15. Broussard and Fenner in the backfield for Blake. David Klingler appeared in one play the series before. But Blake just throwing this ball away. Simon Fletcher had Blake on the run, and that'll bring up fourth down and Lee Johnson to punt.
Well, we're going to see some pressure up front. Blake dropping back. Still looking a little tender on his ankle. Simon Fletcher. Carl Mecklenburg coming at the middle. On the outside, though, the corners really came up late and put bumps on the split receivers. Covered them real tight. Took any opportunity of a completion away from Blake.
Lee Johnson sending it Glenn Milburn's way, and Milburn to begin at the 24. Straight up the middle. Gets it out to about the 38. And that is where Denver will begin again. The Broncos with a 6-0 lead, 12:51 left in the half.
When the music's over, so's the party. That's why Magnavox makes a great sounding mini system that plays 7 CDs for over 8 hours of non-stop music. Hey, we make technology people want. Magnavox. Smart. Very smart.
1-800-COLLECT presents The Wedding.
Ted, do you promise to hold Susan, to cherish her, to squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom, leave the toilet seat down, and to always dial 1-800-COLLECT when calling Susan Collect?
I'm a zero dialer, baby. I'm no good for you.
Politeness man.
Champion of courtesy.
His addiction to dialing zero would have put you in the poorhouse, Susan.
Thanks, politeness man.
Remember, ladies, a man who dials 1-800-COLLECT is a man who cares.
Here in Ohio, we tested the new Honda Accord V6 and discovered that the car more people buy than any other is now better and quicker than ever before. Now, why would you want a car that lets you get away so fast?
You're late.
You've got your reasons. The new Accord V6 from Honda.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by American Honda, who has been making quality automobiles in America for the past 12 years. By the Citizen Watch Company. Citizen is how the world tells time. By Brown Electric Shavers, for the world's most recognized shave. And by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
Well, statistically, the Denver Broncos, 133 total yards over the Bengals. If you look at passing yards, the Bengals only have 3 total, and those were by David Klingler. As Elway goes to work, and it's complete on the far side to Derek Russell. Derek Russell making his first reception, inactive last week. He sustained a neck injury late in the Seattle game the week before. All tests were negative, but even as deep into this week, Bob, he was still dizzy, had lost some strength in his appetite. He even admitted he won't be as aggressive in today's game.
Well, he really is showing good quickness, good awareness out there. Really broke to the outside and beat Corey Sawyer to pick up a nice little game.
Second down and 2. This is Derek Clark. He will be met by the Bengals linebacker James Francis. And another indication of the Bronco running game being stuffed by an improving Bengals defense. And when you talk about the improvement up front, Keith Rucker and Dan Wilkinson, who combined for what, 650 pounds?
650 pounds.
That's been the key.
That really has been the key, because the game has changed quite a bit. Now you've got the hard pressure, the quick rushers on the outside. When they get pressure on the outside, the quarterback wants to step up in the pocket. If you've got some big people pushing the offensive lineman back, collapsing that pocket, the quarterback has nowhere to go.
Broncos need 2 yards. Shannon Sharp, incomplete. Broncos will punt again.
Now, Tobar was all over him that time, really come in. I'm not sure that Shannon didn't see him coming, but you don't normally see Shannon drop a ball like that.
Elway disgusted with the Broncos' offensive showing after that impressive opening drive. Denver just a couple of field goals. It could be worse for the Bengals, obviously, than just 6-0. Tom Ruin, excellent high-hanging punt, but will it stop before it goes into the end zone? No, it goes into the end zone, and Cincinnati will have another shot. First down and 10 from its 20. 53-yard punt by Ruin. As we remind you that tonight, one woman married to 2 men at the same time. How did she get away with it? Connie Selica stars, and She Led 2 Lives, a world premiere movie tonight at 9 o'clock, 8 Central, right here on NBC.
And all you men at home, don't worry, it's only a movie.
All right, Cincinnati from the 20, 11-19 left in the first half. Jeff Blake, a little bit banged up earlier in the game, resumes his quarterback position as he gives it to Derek Fenner. And again, the running game going nowhere for the Bengals. Ted Washington up to meet Derek Fenner.
I'll tell you what, you talk about the running game, but that play was an option. He reversed out, took the ball, reversed out of his position, handed off, was starting to take off down the line. He had a pitch man out behind him, and that's not uncommon for him. They will run the option. I don't know if that's the smartest thing with Jeff's ankle being a little sore, but it is definitely in their repertoire.
Fenner gained 1. Blake pressure, just gets rid of it. Knifing in was Elijah Alexander on the line backing blitz. So Blake takes yet another shot and is slow to get up.
Well, Dennis Smith was also on the top of the screen on the outside. They were really worried about him coming off the corner, and there had to be just a mix-up in communication on the right side, because you saw number 64 Bruce Kozerski block down, Eric Moore blocking out, looking to pick up Dennis Smith blitzing from the outside, and left Elijah free right at the middle, untouched.
Again flushed out, steps up, and it's complete. Very close to a first down as Tony McGee makes his first reception of the game. McGee having his best game of the season last week against the Colts when he caught 5 balls for 70 yards, but he's also nursing a sore ankle.
Right, he's been kind of sore, and you can see him break there at the top of your screen to the inside. Kind of a nice round. You can see he's still a little tender. He didn't break it real sharp, but he's a guy that has great body control. He can keep the ball himself between the ball and the defender, and they're a great play, although he was well covered.
So far, not a lot of action for the big play wide receivers, Carl Pickens and Darnay Scott. Blake has not had a lot of time to throw. But for the first time, Scott has the reception and a Bengal first down. Ray Crockett runs Darnay Scott out of bounds. He leads the AFC in average yards per catch at over 20 a pop.
He's the guy that they were going to early until he started drawing double coverage. Here, wide open, the ball just dropped off to him, but early on, he was the guy that they kept going to. Once they started double teaming Darnay, that's when they had those. That's when Jeff Blake came in and had the big games thrown to Carl Pickens.
That one good for 28 yards, so that average will increase. Jeff Cothran is the lone setback on 1st and 10 from the Denver 41. And he is met immediately at the line of scrimmage. Shane Dronette did not give Cothran a chance at all. Just the 6th carry of the season for Cothran. He'll lose a yard or 2.
As a defensive lineman, that's what you dream about. You see him there just to the left of your screen, gets in and gets separation from his blocker. Boom, wide open, taking the hits all by himself. Brought Cothran down. But that's what you dream about. That one-on-one shot where you can just hit the guy, stop him yourself, and you know that you're the guy that did it.
Blake, he wanted Scott, incomplete. And it'll bring up 3rd down. Dronette again pressuring Jeff Blake. He has not had a lot of time.
No, he hasn't.
You sense a definite game plan by the Broncos to pressure him?
They know that not only is he coming off the injury, he kind of hobbled a little bit by that, but you see Dronette again. And right in Darnay's hands with great coverage.
Elijah Alexander.
But I think that they feel that they have to do that. He's a young guy that was thrust into a position. They figured that he hasn't been hit enough.
Maybe that ball should have been caught by Darnay Scott. But 3rd down as Blake sets back, has some room to run. He'll get the first down and more. He's inside the 25 of Denver. And that is where Jeff Blake becomes extra dangerous on the run.
Now, again, a real aggressive pressure up front. This time, Jeff Blake not really hesitating at all. He saw the opening in the front and in the middle of the defense, just decided to go to. He's got to learn how to go feet first, because you go sideways like that, they can still take shots at you. Somebody's got to talk to him. But he says that when it comes to running with the ball, he's just got to be decisive. It's either
3rd down conversion rate before Blake and with Blake. Unbelievable, over 40% with him in there. Play action to Harold Green. Again, Blake pressured. Tony McGee was open. But Shane Dronette, again, very active. In his 3rd year out of Texas, the 2nd round pick.
Hard play fake to the right. Just, they're hoping to draw most of the defenders over there. As you see Dronette make the hit on Blake. But that play action they run it so hard, they bring everybody to the right side, hoping to bring the whole defense to that right side just to clear the whole backside open, and all they do is drag Tony McGee to the backside, hopefully by himself or in one-on-one coverage. Get him the ball, let him work with it.
Deepest penetration for the Bengals. 2nd down. Blake had Carl Pickens open. He missed him. So Blake, who has just been red hot, 247 passing yards against Dallas, and backed it up with 387 passing yards against Seattle, and then had 354 against Houston, had 202 last week. He's just not on today.
Right. I mean, Pickens was wide open. Blake was looking at him. He had to be the primary receiver. Saw Pickens, was waiting for him to turn around. When Carl finally turned around, Blake was just trying to place it in there instead of just throwing the ball.
Third down. Fenner on the delay. Fourth down. Randy Fuller makes the stop on Fenner. And we will see Doug Pelfrey.
Well, they're really getting their defensive backs into the game, bringing them up, having them fill some of the holes. And there you see a big play. You know, you don't necessarily want your defensive backs to be making all the tackles, but you know, if that's your game plan, you can sneak them up and make some big hits.
43-yard attempt on the way for Pelfrey, and it is good. Doug Pelfrey now 21 of 24 on the 94 season, and the Bengals are finally on the board.
You can tell a lot about a man by his shaver. The man who uses a bra and flex control appreciates good looks, has the flexibility to adjust to any situation, and he's not afraid to get close. But the most revealing thing about a man who uses a bra is how easy it is to spot him.
I believe this is yours.
Braun, the world's most recognized shave.
This is the elegantly appointed front-wheel drive Acura Legend. And to connoisseurs of classic automotive art, this is the dinner bell that says, let the feast begin. The new 1995 Acura Luxury Lease, available exclusively at your Acura dealer.
Hello?
Hi, Jan from the paper calling to confirm your fax.
Go ahead.
The ad reads, for sale, fax machine, answering machine, speakerphone.
Introducing the Compact Presario. With fax machine, message center, speakerphone, and CD-ROM drive built in, it's one business tool that could replace a lot of others.
Going out of business, huh?
Actually, I'm just getting started.
Next Saturday, a great college hoops doubleheader with 4 top 10 teams. UMass battles Kansas. Kentucky meets UCLA. The John Wooden Classic, next Saturday on NBC.
I mentioned earlier that this is the first time sons of former or current head coaches have met. Wade Phillips against Dave Shula. There's Wade with his dad Bum, the former Oiler coach, also had a stint with the Saints. And there is a much younger Don Shula and a much younger Dave Shula.
That's got to be 30 years there. 30 years ago on that one almost.
I think I would have liked to have seen a young Wade and a real young Bum, too. Lee Johnson sends it out to Glenn Milburn. Milburn, good return, still on his feet. And they will spot Glenn Milburn out at about the 42. Lee Johnson, the kicker, had to make the stop on Milburn. 31-yard return for the former Stanford Cardinal.
Now he makes the break to the outside here. A lot of good blocking. Double team got that guy just pushed out of the way. Right here, you see him wants to explode into Lee Johnson like you need to do that into a kicker. I mean, I'm sorry, but the kickers just aren't the big hitters on the special team.
Lee Johnson's 6'2", 200. He's bigger than Milburn. Elway to Milburn. Milburn brought down across the 45 by James Francis. Glenn Milburn came into the game needing just 6 more catches to tie Gerald Wilhite's team record for a running back of 64. He now has 59 receptions, so just 5 short of that milestone. He's joined in the backfield. Milburn is by Leonard Russell. Elway out of the shotgun and a little shovel to Milburn. Bengal territory, brought down at the 35. Mike Brim brings him down, but that is a popular play in Elway's playbook.
Well, you know, their jet offense isn't just the shotgun situation for passes. It also contains a lot of running plays and the short shovels underneath, where you see here Glenn Milberg getting the little toss. And again, this is where he is the threat. When he gets the ball, he's the kind of guy, he's got the quickness, he's small, he's quick, he's got the agility to make the, to break. He's not going to bust many tackles, but I'll tell you what, he's going to make a miss.
Elway going long, deep for Anthony Miller. Some last-second adjustments down there in the corner of the end zone. Mike Brim was on the coverage of Miller, and there was some jostling around down there.
It's getting a little physical down here, and they've been a little bit Mike Brim there just kind of feeling his way where he was. But other than that one little touch, there really didn't seem to be anybody interfering with anybody else. And I'll tell you what, you saw James Francis just bullying his guy right back into John Elway's face, and John, being the cool character he is, didn't even let it affect him.
Elway out of the backfield has Reggie Rivers, and a good hard hit. That's what Darrell Williams is known for. And he puts the hat hard on Rivers.
Well, 2 plays in a row, they're bringing the linebackers. That time, Steve Tovar, you see on the right side of your screen, right up the middle, trying to get some pressure on, and a big, hard hit by Darrell Williams. It seems to be what they want to do. They're hoping to fluster John. You know, he's a guy that even if you get pressure on him, he can scoot around, get free, and I think he's almost more dangerous when he's throwing the ball on the run. So they're trying to get him in there and make some hits on him before he can actually even get away.
3rd down and 12. 5:18 left in the half. Broncos up 6-3. Elway going long, deep down the far side, and this time he has Anthony Miller. Miller with a 1st down. Corey Sawyer on the coverage.
Well, when we talked to John 2 weeks ago, he said that the one thing Anthony Miller was having problems with was the timing of his patterns. Because as we said before, John goes through progressions, looking from primary to secondary to his 3rd receiver, and and Anthony Miller was so used to just running the routes in San Diego where he just found a way to get open. They threw it to him, but obviously it's working out much better now. The timing between them is much better.
1st and 10, ball at the 15. The shovel pass again. Milburn can really hunker down there and hide behind that line of scrimmage, but the Bengals finally find him, and Steve Tovar puts the stop on it. Milburn has been relatively quiet the last couple of games, rushing for just 36 yards and just 41 receiving yards in the last couple of games.
Well, he was only a 3rd down guy there for a while, and then they started using him on 1st and 2nd. He felt, well, it gave me an advantage because they didn't know what to expect from me on 1st and 2nd down, but I think they're starting to figure it out.
No gain. 2nd down and 10. Elway looking for the end zone, and he's got Anthony Miller. The 5th touchdown reception of the season for Anthony Miller.
And here you see just the speed of Anthony Miller. Just made the break and just ran away from Corey Sawyer. Sawyer's trying to make up a little bit of space by coming underneath him. But Anthony Miller, just as we said before, a great break. Got a little bit of advantage and took advantage of it.
Well, they muffed the point after. Jeff Campbell is not able to come up with the snap. And thus...
Dan, the snaps really haven't been good so far. And a couple of the field goals, the ball has been high. Actually, the first field goal they made, the ball came right to Jeff Campbell's chest.
So instead of a 10-point lead, only a 9-point lead for Denver, but we do have a touchdown.
This is the elegantly appointed front-wheel drive Acura Legend. And to connoisseurs of classic automotive art, this is the dinner bell that says, let the feast begin. The new 1995 Acura Luxury Lease, available exclusively at your Acura dealer.
Ready for your picture with my new Polaroid Captiva? Smile!
Where's the picture?
Oh, come on, he get down now.
I want my picture.
The Polaroid Captiva. It stores its pocket-sized pictures till you take them out. So pick one up for the holidays.
to its removable, rechargeable battery packs, the Skill FlexiCharge drill has power enough to work around the clock. The FlexiCharge power system from Skill.
How long is a minute? A minute is long enough for 19 smiles and 3 seconds of smile, or 6 giggles and a chuckle. A minute's long enough to hug 2 grandchildren very tightly, or fall in love at first sight. And today, more people keep track of their minutes with a watch from Citizen than any other timepiece on Earth. Citizen, the most preferred watch in the world. Citizen watches how the world tells time.
Today on NFL Live, Mike Ditka listed the keys to the Bears' success.
They run the ball on offense over 40 times a game in the games they've won, and they've won it effectively. Defensively, they played very good, and they got some turnovers. The other thing is special teams. They've won 2 games with their special teams. That's why they're winning.
Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern.
Scoring drive for the Denver Broncos, who are out in front with 4:09 left in the first half by a score of 12-3, capped by the Anthony Miller 16-yard touchdown reception from John Elway. And this is Eric Ball from the 7. Cuts back to the right, across the 30, and had some more room, but not able to hold his balance, and he'll get it out to the 35-yard line. Richard Harvey makes the stop for Denver. A reminder coming up at halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, and Joe Gibbs, the Super Bowl coaches on hand. We'll have all the scores and highlights, plus an interview with Anthony Smith of the Los Angeles Raiders. A caring individual that gives away a lot of money.
He does. He does.
Charities.
He makes a lot, but I'll tell you, he gives a ton back.
Jeff Blake harassed again, fumbles the ball, and Denver has it. Simon Fletcher recovers it.
Harold Hasselbeck making the hit. Well, right before that play was going to start, I was about to say that the Bengals need to get something going here. Hasselbeck just with a sweet arm over swim move right into Jeff's chest, knocking the ball loose, and Simon Fletcher, right place, right time. Look at that, right up the middle, Harold Hasselbeck. Great quickness. He's about 280, 285 pounds. You see him right at the left side of your screen, just a sweet move. Again, it came out of the CFL a little light to play inside, but his quickness is really paying off.
Third turnover of the game for Cincinnati. Broncos at the 26 of the Bengals. Elway, far side. He wanted Derek Russell, incomplete. Corey Sawyer was on the coverage.
Well, is it my imagination, or are they picking on Corey Sawyer?
I don't think it's your imagination.
He came in early and made some big plays, but they keep wanting to throw in. And there again, Corey Sawyer right on, making a great coverage, but he seems to be the guy that they're throwing towards.
Sawyer, the rookie out of Florida State, and the 4th-round draft pick of Cincinnati.
We see Cincinnati with 3 turnovers. Denver still hasn't given it away.
Elway has a lot of room. He'll go head first inside the 20. Jim Fossil and the Bronco coaching staff just cringes every time Elway decides to go helmet first. But
let's see if we can get a shot of Jim biting his lip, bleeding a little bit. And you know, and this is the awareness that Jim Fossil had told us about John. He knows everything that's going on, and there you see hits like that. I think is where that flak jacket really comes in. The shot's low, and maybe one of his keys to his durability.
Elway scrambles for the 7. Pump fake goes again. Anthony Miller, and it's incomplete. Brim was on the coverage.
No, he was double covered over there. Brim had him.
Elway,
I believe,
not happy. Wanted a call here. Wanted an interference call.
Right. I see Brim had him, and Fernandez Vincent come over the top.
Was a chuck. Is that a chuck downfield, Bob?
If I had a black and white jersey on, I'd probably say it was a chuck. But right about now, it doesn't make a difference to me, does it?
All right, so Jason Elam trying to tack on a field goal. This will be a 37-yard attempt, and it is good. So Elam workout today. His third field goal in 4 tries has given Denver a 15-3 lead. We'll take this opportunity to promote some college basketball coming up on NBC Sports. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, it presents 2 top 10 college basketball matchups in the inaugural John Wooden Classic. Game 1, the number 3 Minutemen of UMass, powered by senior Lou Rowe, who, by the way, had a career-high 34 points in that big win over Arkansas the other night. They take on Roy Williams' 9th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Game 2, Rick Pitino's 4th-rated Kentucky Wildcats against the number 6 UCLA Bruins, led by the talented O'Bannon brothers, who were victorious last night. That's the John Wooden Classic next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on NBC.
You know, Dan, I tried out for basketball when I was in 8th grade. My buddies were playing basketball, and halfway through the tryout, coach said he'd talk to the wrestling coach for me. So I could care less about all this basketball stuff.
That was your message.
That was my message. Very subtle.
You didn't have much of a vertical jump, but
I didn't have vertical. I didn't have speed. I didn't have shooting ability. Couldn't dribble. Just a couple of things.
So there was a spot at nose tackle for you in the NFL. Pretty good kick by Jason Elam that drives Eric Ball back into the end zone for the touchback. So a 2:50 remaining in the first half. Cincinnati, which has not been able to do much at all offensively, trails 15-3. And Jeff Blake will have another shot.
Well, he's shown some fortitude at standing in there after getting shaken up early, coming out, and again, he's facing a lot of pressure. That's the Denver Broncos defensive scheme to really go in there and to show him something that maybe he hasn't seen before.
He came in needing 21 throws to qualify for the passing rankings heading into today's game. He was nearly 10 points better than Dan Marino's AFC leading 87.3, but I'm not so sure if he continues to be off the mark, he'll get that. But this one on the mark to Carl Pickens, and very close to a first down. Needed to get to the 30.
Well, the last couple of weeks he's been throwing the deep ones. Now he's really starting to work the intermediate route. Pickens making a nice move on Crockett, just a little shake and bake there. Crockett trying to get and knock the ball away, but again, that is where I've really seen in the last couple of weeks Jeff Blake start to shine. You know, the long passes, he's really just laid it up and made the receiver do the work, but he's having great success at keeping the ball away from the defender and getting it to a place where the receiver can catch it.
That was just the first reception for Pickens. Blake again, this time to Darnay Scott. So the big two, Pickens and Scott, beginning to get more active, but not downfield, but underneath.
Right, and I think that's because a lot of people expected that. Blake has made his success with that long pass, and now they figure they've got to show some variations.
2-minute warning at Mile High Stadium in Denver. We'll be right back.
Of River Highlands, he steps up to the team.
Programs like PGA Tour Golf swing into action with the Pentium processor inside your PC.
It's in the hole.
The Intel Pentium processor.
Bounce checkbook already?
Just about.
Software like Quicken is really quick with the Pentium processor inside your PC.
$100 on videos.
That's unbelievable.
The Intel Pentium processor.
Give me 2 59-cent tacos.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We don't have any.
This is Taco Bell, right?
Correcto.
What happened to your 59-cent tacos?
They're 45 cents.
For a limited time, Taco Bell's original 59-cent tacos are now 45 cents. Hurry in for the same great taste as seasoned beef, crisp lettuce, and real cheddar cheese in a crunchy corn shell for just 45 cents.
And your change?
All right. All kinds of change.
Change is good.
Change is good.
How could one woman
I don't want to lose you.
be married to 2 men
I don't think I can live without you in my life again.
at the same time,
I do.
in the same town, and get away with it?
There's always something, isn't there? Something more important than you and me.
Connie Selica, A. Martinez, and Perry King in a world premiere. She Led 2 Lives, NBC tonight.
There are the numbers for Jeff Blake. Not nearly as impressive as his first 4 starts in the NFL, but he has been pressured today, sacked a couple of times already. In fact, coming into the game, he'd only been sacked 5 times in 4 starts, but the Denver defense has kept him on the run. And on the run again, trying to get it to Steve Broussard. Broussard was open, but Blake again pressured, this time leading the charge, Harold Hasselbeck, along with Dave Wyman.
And not only that, but they brought linebackers off of both sides. And when you're bringing the guys up the middle, you're bringing linebackers off the outside. Wyman coming back off an injury, getting expected to get a lot of playing time, especially in pass rush situations. You know, Jeff Blake at that point has to really be aware and trying to find a receiver pretty quick, because somebody's going to be uncovered.
Jeff Blake sliding into midfield, picks up the first down, and the clock stops at 1:44 left.
Now watch the rush up the middle. Both tackles crossing to the outside. The ends are supposed to fill inside, but they didn't maintain their lanes. When the ends come inside and the tackles come outside to contain Jeff Blake on the outside, the inside tackles, they have to keep their lanes on the inside, or they're going to leave an open spot like Jeff Blake saw on that one. And heck, Dan, you could have saw that one, and you haven't even played much quarterback.
Not a lot, Bob. Not at the NFL level. There he is talking to a guy that has played a lot of quarterback at the NFL level, Ken Anderson, the quarterback coach. And we talked with Ken yesterday, and he mentioned us rather jokingly, but said that, you know, Jeff Blake probably knows the system better than me. In fact, he does, because he spent the 3 years Blake did with the offensive coordinator, Bruce Coslett, who is upstairs.
And I also asked him, I said, is he adjusting? I mean, you know, there's a lot of different fronts and coverages that he's going to have to see. And he goes, well, you know, he's seen a whole lot of things in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I don't know if he's seen this yet.
Ken Anderson also says Blake came in his office about the 2nd week and said, hey, am I ever going to get a shot at the NFL? And Anderson said, keep plugging away, you'll get it. Here's the handoff to Broussard. And look at Broussard driving down to the Bronco 26. So just when you think the Bengal running attack is dead, Broussard hits a big one. 25 yards for Broussard.
Well, they're really using him sparingly. I think they're wanting to see how he's going to respond. And
Blake rolling left. Carl Pickens was calling for it in the end zone, but probably a good call by Blake. Tuck it underneath and take the tackle by Elijah Alexander and stop the clock with 1:08.
Broussard was out there lead blocking. He was actually going to be the little dump guy to have the ball dumped to. When Jeff Blake decided to run, Broussard was the guy to block for him, but Jeff Blake just didn't read the block very well there, and
wasn't exactly a pancake block by Broussard either. I don't think.
One of those finesse, kind of get in your way.
Now the Bengals just with a field goal, trailing 15-3 as we take another look at Broussard.
And Blake was the guy that was the spark for this team. Now I think Broussard wants to step up, and he wants to be the guy to kind of take some of this stuff on his shoulders. But a great effort, you know, nothing fancy. Get in there, make a couple of twists and turns, make some people miss, and then when they get to you, just carry them with you for a while.
Well, the Bengals have been relying on the pass, especially for scoring plays, so much that they do not have a rushing touchdown in the last 8 games.
Well, both teams have told us that they really go away from the running game early. It's not something they rely on. They want to go to the pass game, and especially for Cincinnati, the way Jeff Blake has been playing.
2nd down and 2, ball at the 18. Broussard will try to run for it, and it'll be very close. He needed to get to the 16, Shane Dronette, on the stop as we dip down below a minute left in the first half.
Dronette's been all over the place, and really, you know, Broussard on that play was looking to cut it back, start to the offensive left and cut it back. Nobody really sealed the backside. Dronette made a big tackle.
Jeff Blake downs it as Broussard did pick up the first down. And now with 41 seconds left, the Bengals will try not to make another costly mistake. They already have 3 turnovers, and another one here would
A mental, I mean, this is such a
nightmare.
It's such a mental game. You know, you start to get some confidence about winning some games, but it's a fragile confidence. You know, it's not based on anything substantial except a couple of big games.
Blake has Fenner out of the backfield, and Fenner, short gain, is out to about the 14, just inside the 15. Ray Crockett on the stop, clock continuing to run.
And they continue to hit Blake. Harold Hasselbeck again coming to the outside, making another hit.
On third down, Blake lofting it up for Carl Pickens. Out of bounds. That is the kind of play that Carl Pickens loves to have. He jumped 7 feet 2 inches in high school, and he loves to match up and go for it in the air.
But it looked initially like it was going to be just that fade pass that the quarterbacks like to throw. That timing, they just kind of lofted up and just for that corner of the end zone, and the receiver knows he's got to run there. That one, Pickens had to kind of turn and fight for, but just a little bit out of bounds.
Doug Pelfrey comes on. This will be a much shorter attempt than his 43-yarder earlier. And Pelfrey has it. That one good from 32 yards out. And Pelfrey and Elam, very busy field goal kickers for both Cincinnati and Denver today. The only touchdown scored by Denver.
Well, David Shula trying to keep his team up right now.
Reminder coming up at halftime. Scores and highlights from our NFL Live studios. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Joe Gibbs and Mike Ditka standing by with Greg Gumbel. How about the Dan Marino comeback win over the Jets?
Amazing. The Jets came out and they played so strong early, and Dan Marino pulling a John Elway. Of course, Dan's had a number of those comebacks of his own, so you know, but he's a guy that likes to come out early and just take control.
Another big shocker in the NFL today. The Vikings losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But I think the Bucs had lost like 8 in a row, 7 in a row at this point.
Some other games going on as we speak. San Diego, the Chargers, still leading the AFC West with that 8-3 record. They're taking on the Rams. And Kansas City and Seattle are playing in Seattle, and we can update that one. The Chiefs have a 6-0 lead on the Seahawks. There's Wade Phillips still trying to dig this team out of a hole after the 0-4 start, but they have won 5 out of their last 7. The only loss, the Monday night thriller loss to Kansas City in the last 7 games, and a few weeks ago, disappointing loss to the Los Angeles Rams. Lee Johnson kicks this one on the ground, and Denver, scrambling for it, will recover at the 27-yard line.
There's nothing more pathetic than watching a couple linemen try to pick up a ball. I'm sorry, but
now that was Dwayne Carswell.
You see these guys, they put offensive linemen in there basically just to block, and you know, there you see the great hands.
This is not the good hands team that you want out there.
You know, their eyes get about the size of dishes, you know, saucers, and they think that they're going to make this big play. Next thing you know, they're fighting to try and gain control.
That will be the final snap of the first half. Denver has a 15-6 lead over the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll be back with Greg Gumbel to the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report right after these words from your local station.
Journey into the unknown tonight on an all-new Earth 2.
They want us to help them.
First contact with the Terrian race. Judge. Turns a rescue mission into a trap.
If you love her, hold your fire.
Shoot him. Tim Curry guest stars Earth 2. Then.
Who are you?
Science wakes the dead.
Let me go.
Carrying grisly secrets from beyond the grave.
Don't look in his eyes.
An all-new Sequest after Earth 2, 7, 6 Central, NBC tonight.
Thanks for calling Blackjack Pizza. We're on our way. When you want a pizza delivered, you've got plenty of choices. So why choose Blackjack Pizza? It's simple. We have the best pizza at the best prices around. You make the call. Blackjack Pizza. No gimmicks, just great pizza. Blackjack Pizza.
Halftime at Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Broncos with a 15-6 lead over the Bengals. Reminder coming up, Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs with our NFL Live halftime report. We'll get to that. And when we come back after these messages from your local station.
NBC Tuesday.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be good and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
And welcome to those of you who have been watching the Bengals and the Broncos. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs back in our studio in New York. Let's run down the scores and highlights for you. In the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Raiders at halftime trailing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tough defensive battle here. The Steelers lead at 7-3. Mike Tomczak has thrown a touchdown pass to Yancey Thigpen for the only TD in that game. In San Diego, the Chargers at halftime trail the Rams 14-6. Chris Miller, 2 touchdown passes for Los Angeles. In Seattle, the Seahawks trailing the Chiefs at halftime 6-0. That game has gone to the third quarter now. Lynn Elliott, 2 field goals, the only scores of the day so far. In the game you are watching, the Broncos are leading the Bengals by a score of 15-6. And I don't know exactly when it happened, but at some point this season, the Denver Broncos began to look like a different team, Mike.
Well, they're not turning the ball over. They hurt themselves in the first part of the season by turning the football over. The other thing that they're doing so much better than I've seen them do, they're putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Blake is under tremendous pressure today. He doesn't have time to do anything out there.
Yeah, Jeff Blake is just 5 of 16 for 57 yards in the first half, Joe.
Well, I think, hey, Blake has been the savior for Cincinnati. Got a chance to bring him back here, but I think what Denver got themselves in trouble at home. At home, they've got to win this one and then turn around and somehow try and get 2 out of 3 on the road and come back and win at home again. They got themselves in trouble playing at Mile High. That never happens.
Yeah, they are 3-3 coming into this game at home, and they lead at 15-6 at the break. Tempe, Arizona, the Bears lead the Cardinals 13-3. That game has moved to the third quarter. And at RFK Stadium in Washington at halftime, the Giants are leading the Redskins 14-9. Now, take a look at the shootout that took place at the Meadowlands today. Dan Marino and the Dolphins beating the Jets by a score of 28-24. Big passing day for Boomer Esiason. He hit Johnny Mitchell twice for touchdowns. This one good for 14 yards and good for a 24-6 Jets lead in the third. Late in the third, though, here comes Marino. Second touchdown pass of the day to Mark Ingram. This one a 17-yarder. The Jets lead is down to 24-14. It was 24-21 in the closing seconds. First and goal, Miami. Look at the motion that Marino makes. He's motioning to Mark Ingram, steps back, 7 yards, and a touchdown. That is the game winner. Ingram's 4th touchdown catch of the day. The Dolphins win it 28-24 in the battle of quarterbacks. Marino comes up the winner over Boomer Esiason in this one. Big numbers for Dan Marino. 31 of 44 for 359 yards, 4 touchdowns, all in the second half. John Dockery talked with Dan after the game.
Thank you, Greg. And Dan Marino, what was the difference in the second half? 4 touchdown passes for you.
Well, we just showed a lot of character and just kept throwing the football instead of trying to run the ball too much. It wasn't coming in there. We weren't making plays. We had some turnovers. We're getting off to a slow start, and we just turned it loose and just went after him, throwing the football, and it worked for us.
What about the last play? You came up to the line of scrimmage. Did you actually posture to try to make the defense think that you're going to spike the ball?
Well, yeah, and I just gave Ingram a motion to run it in case we get a bump and run coverage, and he did, and I threw it to him.
Congratulations. All right.
Thank you.
Greg, back to you.
Okay.
All right, Doc, thank you. And Mark Ingram, one happy camper on the receiving end of 4 touchdown passes today. 29 career fourth-quarter comebacks for Dan Marino for this season. What is the prevent defense you use against Dan Marino in the fourth
wait a minute.
quarter?
I wouldn't lay prevent on that. I'd say Dan Marino is the reason why that game was won. Let me say this. Both those quarterbacks today earned their money. They earned everything they got. I hate it for Boomer that he could play that well and lose that ball game.
Yeah, Mike?
I think stats don't mean everything. You saw the stats and they were great, but I think leadership does. I think Marino went to Don Shula on the sideline and said, listen, the running game's not working. Let's junk it. Let's throw the football down the field. And that's what he did, and that's why they won.
And Miami snaps a 2-game losing streak. They improve to 8-4. The Jets fall to 6-6. In Cleveland, the Browns beat the Oilers today 34-10. Cleveland improves to 9-3. They have won 3 of their last 4 games. Vinny Testaverde back in the starting role at quarterback for Cleveland. 2 touchdown passes today. And Leroy Horde on this 4-yard run for another score. He finished with 103 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Browns extend Houston's losing streak to 8 straight. In Atlanta, the Falcons beat the Eagles 28-21. The Eagles have now lost 3 in a row. Rich Kotite looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. Not today. Jeff George to Terrence Mathis for a 7-yard touchdown. He also caught the 2-point conversion, giving Atlanta a 21-14 lead. Mathis, a big day, 10 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the Eagles fall. It's their first 3-game losing streak since 1991. The Falcons are 6-6. The Eagles are now 7-5. And in Minnesota, in overtime, Tampa Bay beats the Vikings 20-17. And the Vikings fall to 7-5. The Bucs are 3-9. Second half from Mile High Stadium still ahead. We'll send you back to Dan Hicks and Bob Golick after this message from the National Football League.
I'm Lee Johnson of the Cincinnati Bengals. This is my family, my wife Shelley, my twin daughters Alexandria and Kelsey, and our new baby daughter Madison. My faith and my family are the most important things in my life. They are the values that the United Way and the National Football League have been showing you for more than 20 years. I'm sure none of us will forget Reggie Williams, helping hearing-impaired children escape from a silent world, a journey he worked hard to accomplish himself. Boomer Esiason suffered from juvenile arthritis as a child. That's why he took the time as a United Way volunteer to work with children with arthritis and give them hope and courage to keep fighting. Jim Breach and his family shared their love and friendship with big brothers and sisters who didn't have families of their own. They are just some of my former teammates who told you the United Way story. United Way is still the best way to give and care. United Way, reaching those who need help, touching us all.
This message furnished by the National Football League.